My boyfriend hates musical theatre, but he loved my Velma Kelly corset, so it's fine.
Did you take it home? Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Not Fazed with Faye, with me, your host, Faye Brookes. This week's guest is an absolute pocket rocket of a female, a true businesswoman who knows how to get stuff done. Our paths crossed only a few years ago now, and I'm forever grateful for the friendship that we share. We actually bonded over our love for musical theatre. Trust me when I say this girl can sing. But if she's not performing on stage, she is spinning plates like a real northern grafter. So tune in this week for all the love, all the laughter, and let me introduce my next guest, Miss Kelly Bond. Let's welcome Miss Kelly Bond, Not Fazed with Faye.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
She's here, everyone.
I'm here in the Cotswolds, and the weather's lovely.
It is. You brought the sunshine because it was doom and gloom before you arrived, darling.
I know it's been terrible weather where we are. It was raining pretty much the majority of the week.
In sunny Southport?
In sunny Southport. We've had a few nice days of it, but then the weather was...
It's been a weird old summer.
It has been a strange old summer. I don't think that we've had a consistent summer. And
we had a lovely day in London, though, last time we saw each other.
Oh, that was, it was very hot, very sweaty.
Very hot.
There was a lot.
You were running around like a headless chicken, that's why.
There was a lot of top lip sweat going on that day.
I call it a sula, sweaty upper lip. A sula.
A sula.
And just
I like that.
A little, yeah.
And then I can go really non-classy and call it Boob River. Had a bit of Boob River on that day as well. That's for all the northern ones in the house. It's true, though. You literally
There's
melt.
a lot of northerners on this. Come on.
There is.
They're all out there listening in, loving on us. So, welcome.
Thank you.
God you're here. I've missed you.
I know, it's been a while.
Let's just give a little bit of context to the viewers and listeners at home because they won't know how we met and...
They won't know me, let's be honest.
Hey,
You've had all of
I don't care. Everyone's going to know who Kelly Bond is by the end of this.
I'm looking at the lineup of people that you've had on this podcast and I'm like, why on earth does she want to have a conversation with me? What have I got to contribute to society? But I am looking forward to that.
This podcast is not necessarily for a certain type of person. I want the people who I think are just absolutely amazing souls, beautiful creatures inside and out, to sit here and just share that gorgeous energy. We call each other pocket rockets for a reason.
We do.
And that's why you're
here. And we're both like swimming in each other's energy.
Oh,
which is always nice.
I know, I love that.
Bathing. I need to come and bathe in some Faye energy.
She literally messaged me saying, I just need to come and bathe in your energy. And I was like, well, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
It did sound a little bit like something from Saltburn, but I was like,
but that's a conversation.
Drink it in.
He's on here somewhere.
I know.
We're not just talking about Saltburn.
So yes, we actually met I think we met over social media.
We did meet over social media.
Was it lockdown?
No, I think it must have been just on the cusp of kind of coming out of lockdown.
Oh, okay.
Because I have now been with Elle Sera for 3 years. So the 1st of August was my 3rd anniversary with Elle Sera,
which was only the other day.
I know, yeah. So it feels like it's forever, but last week all at the same time. I went from totally non-e-commerce and health and wellness background into literally everything to do with health and wellness and female hormones and e-com. So I think it's possibly about 3 years, maybe a little bit more. I was just starting out at Elle Sera. I had, I'll tell you when it might have been actually. I came to see you in Chicago. So how many years ago was that?
I came out of lockdown doing that show. So it would have been then. Oh my goodness.
So that's how long it's been.
Oh, was that Liverpool?
That was Liverpool, yeah.
Great week.
You were fabulous.
Aww,
you were so good.
I'd love to.
There's so few shows that I will go back and watch, even though I'm a real lover of musical theatre.
Which is another reason why we've connected.
Absolutely.
And absolutely fallen for each other.
It's just, I love going to see shows, but then sometimes I have these incredible experiences at certain ones where I'm like, I don't need to go and relive that. So Wicked is probably up there with my all-time favourites. But I saw Adina, it was Helen Dallimore and Adam Garcia, and I
think I saw the exact same cast that you're talking about.
Right at the very, very start of previews.
Like the original crew.
OG. And so I have just never wanted to go back. It's on tour. People keep saying like, "Oh, we're going to go and see Wicked," and I'm like, "You go. I've got my memory."
You put them right up there on that pedestal.
right up there. And don't get me wrong. I mean, from a soundtrack perspective, I love Kerry Ellis' English Elphaba.
Yes,
but Elfie to me is always Adina Menzel.
Yeah.
And, or was it Adele Nazim?
Oh, I know.
John Travolta calls her.
Sounds like something I would say.
But Chicago is one that I can go back and see. And I actually like going back and seeing different people's takes on the role. I've seen it a few times when we used to have a really, really good all singing, all dancing theatre in Southport when I was a lot younger. I've seen it done in amateur circles because although you can't do it as an adult, you can do it as a youth production. So they've done that quite
a different version.
They've done that a fair few times in Southport, little snippets of it, and they did a full production of it. It must have been about 6 or 7 years ago, I think. So that was always good. But yeah, your most recent Roxy. You were amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and we had Jennifer Ellison that was at the
we
function
did.
for Elle Sera recently.
And she's obviously connected with myself and you, Anne, because we did Legally Blonde together. Yeah. Oh, it was years ago. And you sat us next to each other and I was like, oh my God, I've not seen you for how long?
Chicago royalty here. Hi, everyone.
No, I wanted to ask you before we got into all of our twirly madness that we absolutely adore, where it came about going into Elle Sera, because what were you doing before that?
So my whole background is likened to yourself. It was musical theatre. I trained in performing arts. I got my qualifications in performing arts. I went and toured the world doing event management, production management, presenting, hosting, singing. I went and took it as far as Australia. I ran an acting school in Australia. When I was like 26, 27.
Oh my, she's done it all.
The most incredible experience. I'm telling you now, it's because I was British. Like I was just novelty. There's not a chance I would get an opportunity like that here in the UK, but in Australia, they just loved the work ethic.
Yeah.
Love the accent.
That's also because you're northern.
Because I'm northern.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then I came back to the UK. Sadly, I lost my nan. And I wanted to just come home and be amongst family. And then lockdown struck. So
what a time.
I was doing event management. I came straight back from Australia to event management and I was performing, presenting, doing all of that sort of stuff in the Northwest. And then obviously I lost everything. The pandemic struck and it was just like every gig was cancelled.
Yeah.
You didn't know when it was going to kind of open up again. So it was just in this limbo state. I was living on my own in a flat then, so everything was going out, but nothing was coming in. I was working for 111 on the on the phone calls for the NHS. So I was doing that from like 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. And then I would pick up.
People got lucky if they got you on the phone.
Then I would pick up. No, they were, and then I'd get the 5 to like 11 shift where it was like I'd be that person that was like, "You've been in contact with somebody that's got COVID, and you need to self-isolate." Got called some really choice words on that. So all of that was going on, and I was just making ends meet, trying to just keep afloat.
Yeah.
And I had a really fortuitous, serendipitous, I love that word, conversation with my friend Danny. And he said, "All right, Blondie, how you doing? This must be really rough on you. Like your whole industry's gone." He's in hospitality.
Right.
So all of his restaurants and his venues were closed. And he said, "My partner has just created this supplement. I think it's going to literally take the world by storm. Like the belief that I've got in her is like unparalleled, and this product is the shit."
Yeah.
And first of all, I think you should take it, because he knew that I had a multitude of hormonal balancing issues. I suffer with PCOS, endometriosis. I've always suffered with that sort of stuff. And he said, "I think you should trial it for one.
Yeah.
But also, I think she needs a Kelly Bond." I was like, well, what is the definition?
Everyone needs a Kelly Bond.
I don't know what the definition of what a Kelly Bond is, but he said, she needs a Kelly Bond.
You're
and I've told her.
a person with a heart of gold that gets stuff done. That's literally what a Kelly Bond is. So everyone, you're welcome. Sorry. Just side note for everyone to know.
So then he introduced me to Alyssa.
Who
we now know and love. And I started boxing orders of Elle Sera in a very, very small office, which I'm not even lying, was like the same size as up here.
Yeah.
It was tiny.
And this is intimate.
And it was the two of us, and we would, box orders, pack orders. And I would still do my 111 calls because, it was just, I was doing a bit of everything.
Oh no, you had to literally do what you were going to do.
And what a time to be alive that was. And so she said, look, this is going well, but if you can get us to like, there was a figure that she said, if we can get to this many subscribers, I'll give you a full-time job.
Wow.
And this is like before Elle Sera had, you know, a deep pocket. Well, we still don't have deep pockets. We're still a very bootstrapped, small scale business, but there was no money to do like masses of meta advertising. You know, we weren't paying for endorsement for anyone. We still don't pay for endorsement from anybody. So it was kind of me going to every networker known to man, talking about this product, talking about how good it was.
You're very good at
people.
schmoozing. Very good.
It's really easy to schmooze and talk about something when you're passionate about it and you know that it works.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that. I got us to that magical little number.
Wow.
And I started with Elle Sera on the 1st of August 3 years ago. It's my 3-year anniversary recently. And from there, I had gone from like boxing the orders to more of the customer experience, operations. I mean, there's multiple hats. And
you were running the podcast. That's the last time that we sat down and did something like this.
Yeah. So when Alyssa is either, you know, called away, or I think at that point, was it maybe just after she'd had Grace.
Possibly.
So there was, I think
it was
maybe
early,
Grace might have been
on
poorly.
in the podcast world for you guys.
So it's a case of, you know, whatever she needs, I do. And on that day, it was just like, I can't do this, but full faith. And she's very good. She gives me full autonomy. She's like, you get it, just go and do it. So I've had amazing opportunities that I possibly wouldn't have had if it hadn't have been this way. So yeah, I think the last networker that I went to and did a little speech, she introduced it as like, you know, from singing to supplements, like how does that even happen? And I was like, well, COVID. You know, everyone was told to retrain or do something different. And I did. But I'm really lucky because I've found that at Elle Sera, I get to utilise all of the things that I have learned from my theatrical training in a completely different industry, and maybe give it a little, I don't know, give it a little bit of razzmatazz.
Yeah.
The customer service world needs a bit of razzmatazz sometimes.
So you're so good at the business side of it all. Where did that come from?
I suppose it's like monkey see, monkey do. I'm very, very good at I watch how someone does something. And if I can't emulate it as well as them, I do it the way that I think that it could be done and put my own little twist on it. And obviously when it comes to the supplement, when it comes to the business aspect of it, you know, Alyssa has had to do it from the very, very get-go. So I would watch how that worked and it would kind of filter through to me, and then I would maybe make some little tweaks and little changes onto how I would say or how I would deliver things, and she just lets me run with it. There's, you know, I would love to say like, oh, there's an amazing team that we work with, but it's not. It's just the two of us.
Literally.
Genuinely the two of us.
Didn't I sit next to you at that event and I was like, who does that? You went, me. I went, and who does it? Me. And what about Alyssa? And who does it? Me. I was like, oh.
If it's not one, it's the other. And yeah, but that's the heart of Elle Sera, is that it is so personal.
Yeah.
And when you're speaking to customers, you can empathise and you can relate with them, and they feel that you can empathise and relate with them, because, you know, they don't really get that with any other customer service right now. I think everyone's expectation levels are so on the floor that by just us being decent human beings and going out of our way to help a customer, they genuinely think that we're angels.
It's being kind.
It's being kind. It is being kind. And there's been a lot of talk of kindness recently, obviously with everything that's happened at home, but I auditioned for Panto.
Wait.
Yeah, I know.
What?
I know. I'm clearly having a bit of a midlife crisis, but
First of all, this is amazing.
Yeah, I've gone, so now I'm like, yeah, Elle Sera, e-commerce, health and well-being, it's all going great. Alyssa's like, if you still want to do your performing, that's great, you go. I do a lot within the community. I still like singing in care homes, dancing with dementia
Kelly,
and stuff. I love it. No, it's nice to give back.
It's incredible though.
But I just recently did a charitable musical for Queen's Court Hospice.
Yes.
Actually, shout out to everybody at Queen's Court Hospice.
Shout out.
We raised £14,500 for Queen's Court Hospice. The most amazingly talented cast all came together to make some money.
And you were a part of that cast.
And I was a part of that cast.
I remember seeing the pictures.
It was the first time I had performed on stage in 12 years.
Wow.
And clearly I just got a taste for it. And I was like,
you could just see it. I think you were wearing fishnets and you were mid-Chicago number, and I could just see the look in your eye, and I was like, she means business.
I know.
Put this girl on stage.
I got to play Velma Kelly. It was great.
You totally are Velma Kelly.
My boyfriend hates musical theatre, but he loved my Velma Kelly corset, so it's fine.
Did you take it home?
It is at home, but it's very sweaty. Gonna get the Febreze on it.
Still sexy.
So I got a taste for it, and then Southport is home to so much talent and so much in the way of theatre. We've got loads of amateur dramatic companies that I was a part of when I was younger that I've obviously had to drift away from because reality took over. And they're doing Cinderella, and I've not done panto since I was 16. Actually, I was talking about this with I was maid Marion opposite Ryan Prescott, that's now in Coronation Street.
God, I love Ryan.
Yeah.
That's how you know him.
That's how I know him.
So he plays my cousin in Coronation Street.
There you go, yeah.
But he was your Robin Hood.
No, he was my Muddles. He was the Models to my maid Marion. We literally spoke about it yesterday. He'd messaged and I was like, oh, just to let you know, like I've auditioned for panto, but I don't know how it's going to be like without you dancing around in your I made him these dungarees with a big M on them, and there's got to be a picture somewhere that I can drag out.
This is before social media days.
Yeah,
though,
so we were
like,
both.
Where's the original picture?
Yeah, we
you know?
both went to college together, and then he went did Lipper, and he took his path, and I took mine. But we're still very good friends, and we still talk a lot. And I'm really proud of him. He's such a great guy.
He's a very good actor too.
Incredibly good actor. But do you know what? You don't get to see the singing side of it as well. So when we were we did an amazing show called Back to the 80s. Oh my God. Back to the 80s, and he played the lead in that. And so I think that there's duos of us singing some form of Bryan Adams number somewhere. But I've digressed now. But yeah, so panto, they're doing Cinderella at All Souls, and the panto, it's like a really great quality panto. It's not like an amateur dramatic production. You go and you watch it and you think, wow, it's
a cracking show.
Significant talent on the stage. The sound and the lighting's always good. The environment's great.
You had to do a self-tape.
Yeah, so what? I went
this
along.
This is the world we live in, by the way.
This is the world we live in, I know. This is my world. This is mental.
This is where the industry's going.
It's just crazy.
We'll go with it.
So I went to the talk up for it, and they talked about the storyline, and what I love about their pantos is they make the leading ladies, the princesses, as it were, a little less princess and a little bit more powerhouse.
That's what I love.
I really like that. And so the ethos behind this new wave Cinderella that they've created is, it is the, have courage and be kind, which is the message that everybody should follow. But it's also, she's going to save the prince and not be saved the other way around, and I liked that, and and I thought, am I too old at 34 to be playing a princess?
Never.
Am I going to get to do it again? I'm just going to give it a whirl. And then they're like, so the auditions are this weekend. I was like, I'm in the Cotswolds. Okay, maybe that's it. I can't do it. And they went, just send in a video. And I was like, what? Send in a video.
There's still hope, Kelly.
There is still hope.
Happen.
So you're in the mix. I have said there is now in the Dropbox folder of a production team in Southport a version of me singing.
I really want to see it.
It's suddenly Seymour, but it's suddenly Buttons.
So had they rewritten the lyrics for the show?
The lyrics.
Okay.
They've rewritten the lyrics.
I thought they were going to be like, just sing anything.
Oh, imagine. If they'd gone...
But if they did give you the option to sing anything on tape, and you just had to sit there and sing to camera, which, by the way, I definitely had to do for my Chicago audition because that was lockdown.
It's so strange.
And you have to look down the barrel and be like, and it's just cringy. What would you sing?
My go-to, my all-time favourite, and the role I would always like to play, but we'll never get to because Bill Kenwright will never. Well, the Bill Kenwright kind of they will never let rid of cabaret. I would love to do Sally Bowles, and it's probably always cabaret.
Or maybe this time cabaret. Who doesn't? It's like...
there's so many different versions of it as well.
I feel like that's another show that'll keep going, and whoever comes in to play those leads will just put their spin on it, put their stamp on it, and I love that.
Really interesting now when you watch people, the current West End version is obviously very, very gritty, very raw. The way that it should be.
The way that it should be.
And I think everyone has this real misconception because Liza played it so like... Amazing, love Liza to death, but that's not Sally Bowles. She's supposed to be a bit crap, and she wasn't supposed to be
a finished product.
Yeah, she's raw, she's broken, she's got all the damage going on.
I love that we go for the broken one. I just want to play the broken damsels in distress that win.
It's always the broken damsels in distress that we get. I was always a Rizzo and never a Sandy.
Oh,
I've been in Greece 6 times and always plays Rizzo.
I was a Sandy.
But
I was also a Frenchie.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah, it was one of those at college. I was like, oh, well, it's a character role. Kelly will play it.
I feel like you know what it is about those characters that possibly you got categorized in, or someone said, yeah, you should definitely go for that one, is because you have this sort of experience about you. You have this way of being slightly got a good head on your shoulders. You look at life a very different way.
Yeah.
And as that's saying something about you. Does that come from family, like your upbringing? Or have you always been... I feel like you're wise beyond your years, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that came from working away.
Really?
Yeah, not left home, but I left Southport at 22.
Yeah.
I had a 5-year relationship with someone that ended. And I think, as with everything, you have one of those relationships and they end and they do something. They can either do real good or they can do real bad. And I think that it was cruising to do real bad. So I just got out of there.
Good girl.
And I went and did Mallorca, Pathos, Lanzarote. I had some incredible times working for like Thompson Holidays and Show Team and Live Nation, and I had some great roles.
Yeah.
And I went and Australia. I went and connected with my friend that was there. My family.
Yeah, because you have family in Australia, right?
Yeah, I've got family. They've literally just been over. But yeah, so I've got a whole life over there. That I think I was there for the best part of like 3 years.
Wow.
And what was lovely there was it was like anonymity. I wasn't someone's daughter or someone's sister or, the singer from Southport. I was just Kelly Bond. And
it's like you got to reinvent yourself.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say...
in a good way.
I don't think that it was that I reinvented myself, with not wanting to sound a bit wanky about it. Like, I found me. So a lot of people will go like, I went to India and found myself. And
of course.
Like, shut up. Like, whatever.
You went to Australia.
But I went to Australia and realised who I was because sometimes when you can be in somewhere like Southport, as much as it's community driven, it's very intimate, everybody knows everyone, and it's it's got this real sense of togetherness and unity. It can get a bit heavy when everyone knows your business. So going away and being away from it for such a long period of time was great because I just got to be me. And then when I came back,
you didn't get caught up in what everyone else was.
And then when I came back, I tried really hard, and I still do, not to fall back into the old ways of possibly people pleasing or just appeasing people or doing everything for the good of others.
How do you do that?
It takes a while. It takes a while when you're this sort of person. And when I say that we are very kindred spirits, it is that kind of heart on sleeve. It's the one...
We're slightly open compared to the average person who could possibly put that wall up.
Yeah. And
I'm like, no, there's no wall. Yeah, like, it used to be something that people were like making me aware of myself.
But there's stages in life where you can choose, again, one of two options, where you can keep building defense mechanisms and barriers and you can prevent people from coming in, or you can go, well, no, actually, I'm not going to do that because I'm doing a disservice to me and the other person. And that's exactly what happened with myself and Sean. It was, you come off the back of something really negative and you could choose to go, I hate men and I'm never going to get with anyone ever again. I'm just going to, be a strong, independent woman.
So you weren't looking for love, and then this guy came along.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it wasn't. I think we have always been looking for love because I think we're very loving people.
Yes.
And sometimes
I feel like we've got a lot of love to give.
Yeah, exactly that. So that's it. That's why we never kind of stop doing it. You can see these things happening around you and you're like, oh, well, you should stop being so giving. No, I'm not going to stop being so giving because someone one day will be worthy enough to have all of me. And that's what I think is nice now is we've both found that now. So, yeah. And then when it comes back to the roles that I play and the wisdom aspect of it, I suppose, because I've gone around and round a circle about that. I take a lot of my experiences and can kind of invest them into the roles that I play.
Through.
But it has been sad because for the last 12 years I haven't played a physical full role on stage. I've performed, I've hosted, I've
Yeah, you do it all.
I've taught. I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually had the opportunity to play a character for 12 years. I've just been perfecting Kelly Bond.
Do you know what I mean?
There's still time.
Yeah, exactly. I always just say I'm a work in progress and it's still going on. But then still put a little bit of me into whatever comes, whether it is this podcast, whether it is whatever I have, hobbies I've got into that have become like everyday rituals. I'm putting a little bit of me in there wherever I go, finding what I like, finding what makes me happy. Yeah. Because you just get one life, so live it the way you want to live it.
Absolutely. No, you've just got to take everything, and that is what's great. I am really, really lucky at the moment. I know everyone, you in particular, will always go like, "Oh my God, you're always working. This is ridiculous. Like, stop, slow down."
No,
and I'm like, no, I'm not
all
going
for it.
I'm not going to because Elle Sera consumes the vast majority of my week. I'm very, very grateful for that role. I love it. I love the customer element of it. I love learning what the next challenge that I can be thrown. Like, oh, this has happened on a website platform that I know nothing about. Right, I'll figure out how to fix that. Just like the little challenges that you get daily. But what's great is that Alyssa allows me to just, go and take some time. If you want to go and be in a production, or if you want to go and do a gig, or if you want to go and host that charity gala, like, you go and do that, that's fine. So at the moment I'm able to utilize all of the things that I am passionate about and do it. So I'm very lucky. I am very, very lucky at the minute.
And we've only just touched on Sean, but I need to know how you guys met.
How Sean and I met. We were
because your eyes just like light up when you speak about him. And I thought I was the only girl that did that about my man. So to meet another woman that is just so happy and like just right where she needs to be, I need to know the deeds. I need to know the story.
It's a really, okay, so we were introduced by like a mutual friend, and I had just come out of the back of quite a nasty relationship. There was the one I got dumped on Valentine's Day. It was bad. It was really heavy. And I was sat at
people take note
at that crossroads where it's like, do you just cut yourself off and just think, right, I'm just not meant to be with anyone. These things keep happening. Maybe it's me. Or do you just stay open to it and think, oh, sod it, I'm just going to go? And I went with the other option, which was like, sod it and go. So it was at a venue in Birkdale where we now live called Number 4. I'm actually singing there next weekend.
Of course, everyone go buy tickets.
I had a gig. I had a gig 5 till 7, and then Sean was going to meet me at 7:30, and we were just going to have a little drink, have a chat.
Was he coming along to watch?
No, he didn't know. I was like, I'm at this venue, but if I book to meet you anywhere else, I'm probably going to be late. So come to like my gig, but I'll be finished. I wouldn't be singing. It would have been strange. So yeah, I finished my gig at like 7. And I came off from singing, and my mum walked in, and she was like, "Hi, babe," with her dog Jeffrey. You've seen the dog now. She's got a Shorkie Jeffrey that she just puts under her arm with her. And she's like, "Hi, babe, you okay?" And I was like, "Oh, mum, this is really awkward." She's like, "I thought I'd come and have tea with you," because bless her, she's probably thinking, "Oh, she's been dumped. She's dead lonely. She's on her own. She's been gigging on a Friday night. She's got no mates to go out with. I'll take her out for tea."
Aww.
And I was like, "Mum, I can't." She's like, "Why?" And I was like, "I've got a date." And she was like, "Oh, is that a good idea?" And I was like, well, it's now or never, mum. Like, I just got to do these things. What have I got to lose right now?
I love parents
literally have lost everything. So what else have I got to lose? Is that a good idea?
This is like back to when I was like, I think I want to be a performer. Is that a good idea? Yeah. Have you got a backup plan? Yeah. I just love the honesty.
Why don't you go and get like an NVQ in something to do with trade?
Anyway, so yeah, she's giving you her advice.
Mum's like, "Oh, is that a good idea?" And I was like, "Look, I'm going with my gut on it. We're just going to see what it's like." And he walked through the door, and he had a checkered shirt on, his Chelsea boots and his jeans, and he was just, and still is, gorgeous. And you look at someone, you're like, "You'll do for me." And we sat down at this high table at this bar.
God.
So my mum decided to still stay in the venue, by the way. She was like, "Oh, I'll make myself scarce." She stayed for the whole thing. So he
having
walked
a little
in,
drink in the back.
Mum's there sipping
watching
on her vino or Savion or whatever it was. And all of her mates are there. And he walked through the door, and it was like because it's Southport mentality.
Yep.
Friend of my dad's.
Yep.
Went over and started patting him down. And was going, "Oh, don't you be treating her bad. You'll have me to answer to." And I was like, "Oh my God, this poor boy.
This being put through the ringer."
So we sat down at the high table at the back of number 4. And I started talking. And
number 4 is really nice, by the way.
Number 4 is really nice. Yeah, you know number 4. And he just went, I've just got to stop you. And I was like, oh no. And he's like, you've got lipstick all over your teeth. I was like, and literally I just was like, oh my God, it's awful. Like wiping the lipstick away from my teeth. I was like, is it gone? And he's like, yeah, it's gone.
How real could you be in the first 2 seconds?
Well, and I like that. He could have sat there and let me get on with it, but he decided to pull me up on it. And that's what,
and I think
that is our entire relationship.
Yeah, that's less embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's our entire relationship.
That's more like he's got your back.
Yeah, he has got my back. And I think because I've lived in a world where no one will tell me that I had lipstick on my teeth.
Oh, for sure.
When you find that person that tells you that you've got lipstick on your teeth, you keep them.
Or food in your teeth. It's usually one.
Do you get a lot of food in your teeth?
I don't mean to.
Yeah.
But you're just unaware. And I might have had a salad. There's a bit of green there.
And some seeds.
It's right there.
Yeah. So that was
I love that.
That was our. So
yes,
that's
Sean.
how it started. And we actually, it was really bizarre. I think I reshared something like last night on. It was like an Instagram thing where you find that date that you never want to end.
Yeah.
And so we were in number 4 till it closed. We went across the road to a bar called Coast. No, Bar Nista.
Okay.
Before it closed, we then went to another bar and then that closed. And then we got into the taxi and I think it was like, or one of us was going to get into a taxi and he would go into Liverpool and I would have gone back home. And I just kind of like jumped in and was like, should we just go out into town? I don't go out into town. Like I am a hermit.
You're like me.
I don't
Nana
do it. It's
at home.
not for me. And we went to a bar in Southport called Avenue and they have all of the guitarists that come from like the Cavern Club in Liverpool.
Nice.
It's like their last gig of the night.
Nice.
So they come and they've got the guitars and the foot pedals and everyone's going for it. And I think
just live music and a
live
bar,
music,
and you're with a good guy.
Yeah, and it was sweaty and rum and coke fueled, and it was the best night ever. And I just have this amazing memory of us just yelling Oasis in each other's faces,
obviously,
because that's the sort of music that they were playing. And I had listened to this band before, and I could call every next song that was coming, and it was like a bit of a party trick. I was like, it's Oasis next, and it was Oasis. So there's just, I can just picture the two of us having only just met, just like screaming like, so Sally can wait to each other. And yeah, we parted ways at like, I don't know, some ungodly hour in the morning. I was teaching at 9 o'clock the next morning. Had to get the train because I wasn't able to drive because I was probably still under the influence.
God.
Really unprofessional of me. Never done that ever again. And then we caught each other.
Blue moon.
We caught each other again on the Saturday, and then I don't think that we've left each other since.
Oh
really.
Wow! And now you live together.
And we live together. We got our house,
and you're sorting out renovations for that because this is an ongoing thing, right? You bought the property knowing you'd have to do this.
Yeah, we bought it and it was completely livable if you wanted to live in something. Remember, like they had like maritime museums where you'd go in and be like, and this is how somebody lived in the 1920s or something. It was like completely kept immaculately by a gorgeous lady called Mavis.
Oh,
and
Mavis, wherever you are.
And
God bless your soul.
Well, her granddaughter and I have just been in that show together, and I often laugh with her about it. And honestly, it's like you could see where she had sat because that was the only place in the room where the carpet wasn't immaculate because she had her footprints on it, and it was just like
was it pink carpet?
The bathroom had carpet. It was turquoise with like a pinky carpet. No shower, so that we got rid of that first. And then there was these rails. Every wall had like a rail around it, and it had little trinkets. Little trinkets and mugs. Like, you know, the mug that used to get free with like the Kellogg's breakfast. Honestly, it was like some form of like vintage museum.
Yeah.
But it felt
was Mavis
loved.
a bit of a hoarder?
I don't think
but
she was.
Love?
It was immaculate. No, I don't think that she was, because the house was immaculate. And when we went in there, I was like, yeah. There's a lady in her 80s that lives there, but oh my God, you could feel the love that was in the house. So I actually wrote them a letter when we wanted to buy the house, and I was like, I love your home and would love to continue making nice memories there, because you could feel the memories that had been made there, and you know, not all of like the family pictures had been taken down, but you could feel like, you know, there's
an energy,
board games in certain rooms, and there was like little teddies in certain rooms and stuff, and you just knew that
So much had happened before you came along.
I think she had lived there for about 46 years. And I think her family had lived there maybe beforehand.
Wow.
But and we are still living in the back bedroom. And I remember the very first night that we stayed there, we turned all the lights off and lay down, really overwhelmed by the move-in, and looked up at the ceiling. And do you remember those like luminous stickers that you could put on the walls? We've got an orca whale on the ceiling. I don't know what that was all about. Yeah. But we've left it there. We quite like it. It's like a little nightlight.
To really set the mood, guys.
We came back from Australia. We came back from Australia in March and the kitchen had flooded.
Oh, no.
So that's why the kitchen got ripped out. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We were talking about it earlier, weren't we? And Sean was like, oh yeah, we've only like split up like 4 times. We haven't.
Of course you haven't.
It's been fun. I've really enjoyed the process with him because like on the bad days, they're bad days together. And on the good days, they're good days together.
I think you're a really good team.
Yeah.
Like just even from like the way you speak or bounce off one another, you can just tell when someone is like a part of something. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, he's legitimately my best friend. Yeah. Like I just...
You're going to marry him. Like, I'm just going to put money on it now. Like, marry your best friend. It's the only advice I can give.
He's down there now, absolutely eye rolling.
I mean, I don't care if Sean can hear it. Like, honey, this is it.
I think you're the 17th person this week that's asked that. All my relatives from Australia have been here.
I just got a good vibe. And you know what?
It'll happen.
Just go with it. Mm-hmm. Go with it. Enjoy your life. Keep building. And it took us a good 16...
building!
Only you.
Only me.
And a little bit of a sing. Did you come and see that?
I came, but I couldn't catch you.
Oh, that's what it was.
Because you were in all of the wrong places for me to come, but I did catch it. We went to go see it. Sean loathes theatre, but we did go and see Strictly.
And he did enjoy it.
He did enjoy it.
There's something
we went
for
with our
everyone
friends
in
Eric
that one.
and Sarah, and they very kindly gave us tickets because the people that they were going with couldn't make it. Yeah. So they invited us to go along, and I go to opening of an envelope if there's anything musical involved. Like I do. Like I just love it. And we went, and it was a sensational show, but I always was very sad that I missed you because I do think that like seeing you as Fran would have made me very happy.
I had a lot of fun. And I quite liked the fact that you were doing a show the other day and you had your little pop socks on in the character shoes and sent me a picture going, isn't this like Fran? Like
this is such a Fran thing.
Proper giving me like Fran vibes. And I was like, yes, but only the people who know that show, who know that character, because this was a film like from my childhood.
That film was so special to me because my godmother is Australian, and when I used to go and sit at her house, I wouldn't watch like the usual Disney stuff. She would put Strictly on. And so I've learned time after time from that one. I learned perhaps from that one. There were so many times where I would like just be dancing around the house,
well, my sisters
pretending to
Fran
pass a doble.
Scott, like dancing around the room. That's literally what I was bred on. So when the musical came around and I was only doing the last little bit of the tour, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do it because this could be a huge opportunity to just learn new dance that I didn't necessarily know, because you just do what you do at drama school. And if you don't branch out before then or after then, I just think that's all you've got. It's a bit of jazz, some ballet.
That's also a misconception. I did a Strictly for charity recently.
Yeah.
And
no, this is the competition that you...
Yeah, I did.
Right. So you tell the story, please.
Okay. So
I get so excited about her wins.
I know. So I did Strictly for Shelter, and was part of a team. I think we raised £23,000 for Shelter.
God, Kelly, that's amazing.
And I always really wanted to do it, and I got there and people go, oh yeah, well, you'd be great at it because you had a bit of dance training. And
misconception.
Honestly, like, so when you go and watch Strictly and you're like, oh, I could do that. And you're like, no, you couldn't. Because honestly, I did a jive and I think I spent 20 minutes just learning how to kind of like ball change, but on the toe as and I was just like, what is this? This is so alien to me because I'm used to going ba-dum, bum, ba. And they're like, no, it's da-da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, but yeah, so that was at the Blackpool Winter Garden. So
incredible venue.
I always set myself like little challenges every couple of years, and that one was like buy a house, do Strictly, sing with Jane McDonald. That's still there.
Okay, so Jane, hi. definitely think you should meet Kelly Bond. She's got a set of pipes on her. It'll happen. If you put it out there, like my vision board. Just set it out there.
It's so lovely now. We get our customers will send me screen grabs when they're like, oh, I went to go and see Jane in concert, or Jane's just released her tickets. Here's the link. I know you'll want to go. And I'm like, oh, darling, I've already bought them. Like,
God. So you're a fan.
I love Jane McDonald.
Oh, I love
It's
that.
the in-house joke everyone rips me for, because you know what? Because I will say things like, keep your Beyoncés, that's fine. I want to go and see Jane. Unequivocally, like the best performing, it's the best performance style for me, because it's warm, it's inviting. She sings things that people want. It's all for her audience.
Yeah.
And it's that northern warmthness that you just, it's lacking so much now.
You're gravitating to her.
And it's captivating, and she's funny, and she's real.
Yeah.
And I get, you can tell I'm really passionate about Jane McDonald.
I didn't know this existed.
It's like,
I'm in. I'm like, whoa,
I love her.
Tell me more.
Yeah, Alyssa always laughs, because she's like, we always say, like, who are the ideals that we want to have on the podcast, or who are the people that we want to meet. And at the end of the year, we did our recap, and I was like, it's still Jane. And she's like, oh my God, when you meet her though, you'll like cry and just fall into a crumple mess on the floor. And
do you think you'd fangirl? I think you'd be quite cool.
I've met her because I got invited. My Auntie Julie is like my biggest champion of me wanting to meet Jane McDonald, and she wrote to her production team and she was like, you need to meet this girl. And they got me on Jane and Friends, and I was going to talk about that. So I sang one of her songs at my nan's funeral, and that's where the affinity with her is, because my nan loved her as well. Yeah. And I was supposed to talk about it, and then I sat down and I was like, I'm not on the mic plot. That means I'm not speaking. And they're like, oh no, the woman next to you actually got pregnant whilst listening to one of Jane's songs, so we're going to speak to her instead. I was like,
so sorry.
Great, fine.
So sorry.
She was like, where you are away from me. And I'm just like, I just want to tell you that I think you're wonderful.
So that's all it is. All you want to do is meet her. You've been in her vicinity. You still love her. Just want to get you up there.
Just want to go and have a brew with her and say, let's just, you and I rock out a duo. We could be like the Liza and Judy of the Northwest.
You really could. Although I really want to do that with you as well.
Maybe. But no, Jane's up there with my all-time faves.
So if you did get to do a show, if there was a character that you really like, just... well, like, this is for me.
Oh, it's got to be Sally Bowles.
That's
always.
I
love Sally Bowles.
But you love Wicked.
I do love Wicked, but I know that Elphaba is a part that is completely... this is the thing with me. I've always had this view of, like, when I was younger, I want to be a West End performer.
Yes.
But I am such a realist, and I know my capabilities. I suffered with nodules when I was a lot younger. Wow. So my voice completely changed. Wow. I could sing anything when I was younger. I was fearless and it didn't bother me, but it completely exhausted my voice. And so I set the limitations for myself now, because I don't want to ever go back to not speaking. It was like that scene in The Little Mermaid where she's got no voice, that I wasn't allowed to speak for months. I had surgery and it was awful. So
this, like, it's hard. That is hard.
Yeah. So I set limitations, and it's lovely. And I can sing songs from Wicked when I lower the key a little bit, and I can do them if I'm hosting a charity gala and it happens to be a musical theatre theme, then I can do all of those things and I can perform all of those songs, but they're on my terms and they're in my key, and I'm not letting anybody else down if I'm not singing it in the key that they want to, which is what would happen if it was in a professional production. Elfie is very close to me. My cat is called Elphaba.
It is. She's got a cat called Elphaba.
Brilliant. But no, Sally Bowles, I think it's the fact it's Fosse.
Yeah.
It's, Kander and Ebb music always does something to me. I think it's just, there's something that's really raw about it. And it's a role that you can just bring so many different things to. She's a really complex character, and I think it would be really interesting. Yeah, layers. I think all of the roles that I've played in the past, obviously not recently, have been like that. My favourite that I've already played was Mrs. Lovett.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just brought her back out of retirement.
Really see you playing that?
Yeah, I just did that for Queen's Court, and I did By the Sea.
Oh.
And I think that was the moment that made me go, I need to do that. I need to do more of this because I like this. But yeah, so Mrs. Lovett is up there with faves. And then there's always like the fun ones. Like I did, there's a brilliant show called Zeusical that not enough people know about. Stars and Drew, I think that is. And there's a character, Amazing Maisie. I played Amazing Maisie when I was about 15. And I still get people that will be like, I saw you in that production.
Wow.
And you were great. And I'm like, wow.
That's everything.
That's like half my life.
That's
like,
all you need.
So yeah.
So we need to get you on a stage.
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, by the end of today, you know, I might possibly have a part in Cinderella, who knows?
Today?
Well, it might, if it's not today, it might be tomorrow. Okay. But yeah, so the rest of the people are doing their auditions, but they already have mine. We'll see. So that
I
would be
feel like
nice.
whatever you do, whether it is setting out yourself a task or a challenge, or whether it's for a competition or even if it's just for charity events, whatever you set your mind to, you will absolutely achieve it. Like that is
theatre kid vibes, though, isn't it?
Totally a theatre kid vibe, and Northern.
It's that
helps.
Northern theatre kid. Josh Groban did this incredible speech the other day.
Let's talk about that.
And
we both love him.
And he said on there, and I just couldn't have worded it better myself. He's like, if you want shit done well, just hire a theatre kid.
Yeah.
So when people will say to me like, oh my God, how do you do all of this? I go, I'm a theatre kid.
Yeah.
And what do you mean by that? I'm like, it's instilled into us from a really young age that these are the hours that you have in the day and this is how you fill them. And if you have any spare time left, you fill it with even more rehearsing ready for the next day. And it creates this really kind of passionate, driven work ethic that I think that anyone in the theatrical industry sticks to. And then imagine taking that ethic and putting it into something like health and wellness and female supplements, and people go, well, how does that work? Well, Alyssa will ask me, can you go and do that? I don't ask why. I just go, if a director was telling me to move over there, that's probably because that's where the light is. So that's where I should go. I need to do that task to be seen more. Yeah. Or it's a case of like, oh, can you stay and do such and such a thing? And you go, oh yeah, well, get that done now. And then it leaves you with more time for tomorrow because you might need to do an extra rehearsal for something tomorrow. Everything that you do in your brain is leading you to give that best performance. Every time someone purchases Elle Sera, I look at it like they've purchased a theatre ticket and they deserve the best show.
Oh, I love that.
And that's why I go above and beyond.
And this is why I'm an ambassador for Elle Sera. It's not just the fact that the supplements speak for themselves and they say what they do on the tin. Like they are a hormone balancing supplement. It's what the brand represents, which for you and Alyssa to be these empowering females, by the way, I'm all for, because I've come from empowering females like my mum and my sisters, and I adore them. And my friendship circles are very much like female and dominant, like they're female heavy with like those powerhouses. I'm inspired by those. And I think that we should be like patting each other on the back and championing one another and just pushing each other forward. It shouldn't be about suppressing that love or suppressing that celebration. Like we should just be championing one another. Like at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And women can actually be really hard on women.
Yeah.
The amount of
it's hard enough on ourselves.
Yeah, the amount of people that look at something like a social media page and they go like, oh God, my friend is in her 50s and she looks like this and I look like that. And I go, yeah, but that's probably like filtered beyond imagination. And you don't know what's going on behind it. Are you happy? Are you okay with the way that you are? If you're not, let's talk about the steps to get you where you need to be. Let's have a chat about it. And actually then they go, oh, right, yeah, I do feel much better now. You're right. I shouldn't be comparing myself to other people. But women can tear chunks out.
Have you always been like that then? Have you always been able to see it like that?
Yeah.
Just go, we're just going to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm really empathetical.
Yeah.
It comes from my nan. My nan was like the kindest, nicest, most loving, giving person. And so I took all of the best bits of Nan. And she's not here anymore, but I will always put it out there. Yeah, she's
through you.
She's there.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's always like a hashtag, what would Nana Maureen do?
Got you.
And it's just, it comes right back to this: be kind, understand, listen. The women that we speak to at Elle Sera are going through a lot. I mean, as women, we all go through a lot.
Everyone's at different stages.
Everyone's
as
at different
well.
stages. You know, some people have got the addition of having children or having, you know, partners with additional needs. They might have additional needs themselves. They might be, you know, really driven career women that are working ridiculous hours and they're not able to go and do an hour workout each day. They can't, you know, take the X amount of supplements that they need to take because they can't afford it. There's always, there might be a hurdle for them. So actually what everyone can access is me. And if they want to access me and they want to tell me what's going on in their life, just to kind of dump it, I'm happy to take it on, because that's the difference between someone feeling good and someone feeling bad. And I would much rather people feel good about themselves. And I think there needs to be a little bit more of that in the world.
I do.
Sometimes it's not about, I can't always offer a solution. I am definitely not the person to offer solutions to people, but sometimes if you can just listen to what they're going through, that in itself is a gift to them. So if more people could listen, I think the world would be a nicer and better place. I mean, there needs to be a lot more listening now. I'm from Southport, and what has happened to my little hometown has been rough. I'm a really proud Southport person. Yeah. And I think it's sad that the world now knows about the town that I live in for all of the wrong reasons.
Absolutely.
The tragic things that happened to 3 beautiful little girls were completely overshadowed by, you know, thuggery, violence, and things that don't represent Southport at all. Yeah. And actually, if anybody wanted to come and see Southport, come and have a brew. You would notice that we are a really strong community. We are some of the nicest people ever. I
remember it being so peaceful when I stayed there. I lived a little part of lockdown in Southport, actually bought property in Southport, and I had a time there. And I did feel like I was a part of a very special community for that short length of time that I got there. I wasn't born and bred there like yourself. I didn't grow up there. I remember Formby Beach, going there with the family. That was always such a lovely memory, but I didn't ever get anything negative, or I never felt unsafe. I always felt there was a peace there. And that's what's so devastating about what has happened so recently. Yeah,
and it's a strange feeling at the moment. I was trying to explain it to Sean. You feel like you're grieving, but they weren't my children. I mean, BB, is, and I use the terminology is because although she's not here anymore, she is still my friend's daughter. And knowing that she was in our dressing room during the Queen's Court show with little bracelets and loving Taylor Swift and going and just being in a class doing what she loved to do, what happened to her and what happened to the 2 other girls, actually what happened to everybody there, because there are still people that are going to be facing the aftermath of this, and the trauma is absolutely horrific. Yeah. But actually what was potentially more horrific was that they weren't allowed to grieve. They weren't allowed their time to come to terms with anything, because bandwagons were jumped on and people took full steam ahead and destroyed elements of our town and overshadowed something that was terribly sad and that really needed the focus. And I think now the focus is back where it needs to be, which is with those families, which is with those 3 girls. And I really hope that Southport does maintain its very much togetherness, and it's always been that way. I think it will. Yeah, especially with people like you around. Well, there are masses of people like me in Southport, and I am by no means special in terms of the love of people in Southport, and the community spirit is always going to be there. And I hope with this week in particular, it's the Southport Flower Show, and we welcome thousands of people into the town, and I just hope that they can come with an open mind and know that the small pocket of people that caused tremendous damage and destruction to our town are not a representation of who we are as a town. I hope that the families can find some peace in knowing that there is a lot of love and support out there for them, and I hope that that the people that are over across the world that are looking at our little town can look at it in a brighter way in the days to come.
If anyone can do it, you can. You're always a shining light wherever you go. You seem to handle anything that throws at you completely unfazed. Hence why I wanted you on Not Fazed with Faye. So thank you for being here today.
My absolute pleasure.
You just are one in a million. My proper like rocket power of just absolute sunshine. I adore you. I know whatever happens next, it's going to be incredible. And
I'll look forward to texting you all about it.
I mean, you have to come back to the Cotswolds again.
I do.
I know. And thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching another episode of Not Fazed with Faye, and a huge thank you to my incredible guest, Miss Kelly Bond. Thank you for sharing your insights and experiences, from her journey through the business world to her passion for singing, to sharing the world of supplements through Elle Sera. It really was an incredible chat, and I hope you loved it as much as I did. Now, don't forget to subscribe and share, and I will see you next week for another episode of Not Fazed with Faye. For now, stay unfazed, and I'll see you soon.